Yes, sir.
I'm wondering how you think the problem on the border, if you have any updated views on that and what the administration should or should not be doing on that front?
I think that the administration is pulling this thing under control, and I think it's important to know that. The difference between the attitude toward the people and the children is so different in just these 2 months versus what happened in the past 4 years. In the spring, as my colleague, Congresswoman Escobar has said, who represents El Paso, in the spring, more people do come. So there will be more, as there are now, but they have to know, as the president has said, don't come, and how can we address the challenges in their country so that they stay home? But since they are coming, they fall in different categories, and the administration has plans in place to take care of the children in a much more humane way than before, and that means that we have to have more facilities, more beds, and the rest until we transition these children to their, nearly half of them, say 40-some% of them, have a parent in the country our country, that we can transition to. Closer to 3/4 of them have a family member, if not necessarily a parent, in the country that we can transition them to. But they go from the Border Patrol, and then they go to the what's called ORR, the organization, the refugee relief, and then a transition out. So that is being, with the FEMA at the border and the rest, the administration is addressing the immediate concerns. It has to be, though, the recognition that COVID is playing a role in how people need to be separated, and so this adds to the challenge when more people come. And we had like 13,000 beds, as Congresswoman DeLauro, under whose Labor HHS committee, the OOR falls, there are 13,000 beds, but when you need to space, you need more space, so we need more locations. I always like to quote the evangelicals. They have been so excellent on immigration for such a long time. We are not in 100% agreement on all aspects of it, but by and large, they have been a very positive force for good. And when we were 4 years ago having a rump hearing, because we weren't in the majority, rump hearing on overturning the ban that the president had put, the Muslim ban, whether we had the military coming in and saying this is bad for national security, whether we had the diplomats, 1,000 of them signing a letter saying this is bad for our national security, whether we had the business community saying this is harmful message to the world, whatever it was. But the message I want to focus on is when the evangelicals testified, their representatives said that the United States Refugee Resettlement Program is the crown jewel of American humanitarianism. And this is part of what is at the border, is our refugees applying for asylum in our country. We had hoped, and we can reinstitute some things that were taken down by the Trump administration, to have some of that adjudication happen in country so that the case can be resolved there. But there is no question, and I've taken delegations to Central America, that corruption, violence, crime, and just so many, even climate. We saw the climate causing the drought, causing the farmers to have no way to farm the land, contributed to some people coming north. So to the extent that we can help solve some of the problems at home, and instead of canceling that investment, which the Trump administration canceled the investment that we had to do just that, I wish you could see the impact of what USAID can do to help children in those countries. So that is to back up again and say that Biden administration has this under control. It will take, it is change, and it'll take some time, but it is values-based, humanitarian in its aspects, pragmatic in how to, with a plan to get things done, and not just a diversionary tactic on the part of the Republicans because they are bankrupt of ideas on how to improve the lives of the American people. They run to the border. Yes.
Do you
Sure.
anticipate any role for Congress in addressing that situation specifically, whether it be more money for those Northern Triangle countries or more assistance
Yes.
for HHS? I mean, do you see a specific role for Congress?
Well, we had $250 million for the Northern Triangle. Northern Triangle is El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. And that's when we went there on a previous CODEL led by the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Elliot Engel. When he was there, they canceled that money, but that was problematic. So in order to keep people home, we have to address the root causes of the migration. And that's not a big price to pay to have the impact that it will have. And I wish, as I said earlier, you could see the impact of USAID and organizations. Not that they were fully funding, but they were helping. They gave an imprimatur to attract other support. And other institutions are devoted to justice, the justice system in those countries. So, yes, it will take some resources, a small price to pay for people to stay home. There are cases of well-founded fear of persecution in terms of the personal security of people. And this is an issue that I've worked on for my whole time in Congress. And that's harder. There have families that, well, it's so sad to just describe the situations that families found themselves in, hence moms taking their daughters north. How we can deal with that. In some cases, these children were in places that were safe havens for them that we helped fund, not completely funded, but helped fund. So, yes, there's a role for that. And as I said, ORR falls under the jurisdiction of Rosa DeLauro, Madam Chair of the whole Appropriations Committee, but ORR is in Labor HHS, and they are paying very close. And the chair of the Homeland Security Subcommittee, Lucille Ruba-Allard, the author of the DREAM Act, she has been working on this issue for decades in Congress, and again, shares the values, understands the fiscal soundness that we have to execute, but also strikes a balance in all of it. So I think we're to the extent that Congress will be involved, we have experienced hands at it.